Hey everyone, welcome back to the Reclaimed Ranch. My name is Tara, and I have some more thrift flips for you today. We're going to start off, there's this metal tin can. It used to be a cookie can, I believe. I'm just going to change up the finish a little bit, and then I have this breadboard in my stash as well. It's in really good condition, just kind of really dirty. So we're going to start off with the breadboard, disassemble the hardware there, and then clean it up really good. And then what I want to do is I want to paint it white and then do the IOD lemon drops transfer on it. And it turns out really, really, really pretty. I'm going to use my Fusion Victorian lace. Now, when you use a white over a dark color, it does take sometimes 3 to 4 coats. This one took 3. So you'll have to kind of be aware of that. And let it dry in between coats. And then, of course, Fusion has its own top coat, so I didn't need to seal the paint before I went on to the transfer. And so here's the transfer, and this is retired. But if you find a smaller dealer, IOD dealer, sometimes they still have a stash of the older ones. So you may get lucky and be able to find this. It's a really, really pretty one to work with. And so I am actually going to be in California when this is airing, but today when I was working on these, we got a foot of snow, so I'll be happy to kind of get out of town for a little bit. So I just put random lemons all over, and it worked really well on this paint. And then I'm going to use a furniture wax to seal it instead of sometimes I use liquid patina and stuff, but because the Fusion has a slight sheen to it already, I didn't want to add more to that. So I'll use the furniture wax, and that'll be fine for the transfers to seal those. And the next one, we have a chicken rooster, big rooster, ceramic rooster. I got at a yard sale this past summer for $7, which is an amazing buy for how big he is. So I had already previously sprayed a clear matte coat on him because he was super slick, but we're going to go in with the Fusion Cashmere, and I'm going to add some salt wash, and it's going to thicken that paint up because I want a nice textured finish on him. And so the first coat is just glop it on there, get it on. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be streaky. It's going to be ugly. And then the second coat, after it dries thoroughly, I'm going to go in with my paintbrush and I'm going to stipple, which means kind of pounce up and down. And that's going to give me that beautiful textured look that I'm going for. And then I'm going to use the very end after he's all dried. He's got so much detail in the wings and on his neck there and stuff and down below that I'm going to use the rub and buff just to highlight some of those raised areas, and I think he turned out gorgeous. So this is that stippling technique that I'm going to show you here. Just take my paint and then just pounce up and down. If you want a lot of texture, you can leave those raised areas, but I kind of go back over it a little bit lighter and just even it out a little bit more. But the salt wash mix really sticks very well to the rooster. With the cold weather throughout the nation, I heard it was really bad in some areas, and I heard the East Coast got quite a bit of snow. And we are finally, it's been such a mild winter. It's been crazy, like up in the 40s and stuff. And then we had that really super cold snap with the wind chills of negative 20 to 30 below. And now we're getting hit with the snow. So it's not a very fun time. So here's that rub and buff, and I'm using the antique gold color. And I'm going to take my finger and just rub on the highlighted raised surfaces. That's just going to bring out that detail a little bit more. And I went to that applicator instead of my finger because sometimes my finger is heavy and it just seems to put a little too much on. So these applicators, I think I got them at Walmart. They come in a package with all kinds of little sponge applicators, but they're great for things like this. It just glides across that raised area. And the third project, we have that little caddy, that wooden caddy. And so I went ahead and cleaned it up really well. And this paint I mixed in the DIY Liquid Sunshine with Fusion's Victorian Lace. And it gave me this beautiful pale yellow, which is what I was going for. And of course, again, it's kind of like the white. It's a very light color. So you're going to need to add like 2 to 3, maybe 4 coats to cover up that wood. And so I ended up painting the whole inside and everything. And then I figured out, well, I don't want to waste, because I didn't know how much I made, if I had enough. And so I didn't want to waste a bunch of paint. So I do end up changing the color on the inside a little bit different. And you'll see that here in a few minutes. But it turned out great. I think it's really an eye catcher now with the two-tone. You can see how streaky it is. That's after 2 coats. And so I'm going to go in with the DIY's Farm Fresh color. And this is the transfer that I picked. And the Farm Fresh goes really well with it. So that's why I chose that color. And it goes well with the yellow. So then I just did the inside. I did 2 coats, and that covered really well. Dried in between. And then this piece, because I did add DIY to the Fusion, I'm going to go ahead and seal the entire thing because I'm not sure of the integrity of the top coat of the Fusion with it having the clay-based paint added in there. So just to be safe, I'm going to go ahead and seal the whole thing with liquid patina from DIY. And that's this step right here. And I like the liquid patina. It does have a small sheen to it, but it's not a very high gloss at all, so it makes it nice to apply transfers, and it does hold up really well. It's very durable. And the transfer, I'm going to show you here in a bit. If you've never tried transfers before, I would start off with this little set, Ephemeral Melange. It has so many small, beautiful little seed packet type images, florals, and it's just a good way to kind of get your feet wet and learn the process. It's super easy to do, but a lot of people still seem pretty scared to try, and so this one's not very expensive. This is what it looks like here. And it has all these different things that you can do so many different projects with. And so it's well worth the money. But like any transfer, you just take the backing off, lay it down where you want it. You use the tool that comes with the transfer. And I always push down with the tool first and then lift that vellum paper up as you go. You can leave it new looking like that, but I do want a little bit distressing, so I pulled out my finger sander and made it look like it was been there for a long time. The last project is going to be our little tin can. I didn't really like the finish on it, so I took it downstairs and I sprayed it with the Rust-Oleum Rose Gold color, and I'm going to be using IOD air dry clay. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a tea canister. And I'm going to roll the clay out, and then I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to kind of cut out a little piece and mold it. I'm going to make it look like it's a little label, and I'm going to be using the IOD typesetting stamp set, and I'm going to push it down in there, make impression of the word tea. And then I'm going to be using the Rub and Buff again, and this time I'm using the copper, I believe. And I'm just going to fill in the words with those, and then I'll use my Titebond Quick and Thick glue to glue that onto the front of the canister. And that's what it looks like. It's a little bit darker than the rose gold that I spray painted, but that's okay. I am a coffee drinker. I don't know if you guys are. Let me know in the comments if you prefer coffee or tea. I actually drink both. I love my cup of coffee in the morning, but during like these days when it's super cold or a lot of snow, I like to cuddle up on the couch and have a nice hot cup of tea with some honey. It's really good, like if you're sick for your throat, things like that. So has some good healing parts to it as well. Here's the final recap of everything. Our little tea canister, the rooster and his highlights, and the bread box, and then the little tiny yellow spring box for whatever. You can put pencils, crayons, tools, anything you need. Those little caddies are handy to have. Let me know what was your favorite in the comments, and I hope you all have a great weekend. I'll see you back on Tuesday next week, hopefully with some footage of my trip down to Solana Beach. We'll see you then. Bye.